Hey guys, my name is Justin Odisho, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how you could shoot better video with your phone.
Of the sun.
So in this case, I'm going to be using an iPhone 6, but the point is that most smartphones nowadays can shoot pretty good 1080p high definition video. So whether you have an iPhone or an Android, you should still be able to pick up some good tips from this video, and hopefully it'll help some of you guys who haven't got a DSLR or a camera and all you have is your phone. So to get started, the first thing we're going to be talking about is your settings and understanding your phone. So check what your phone can shoot in. For example, this iPhone can shoot in 1080p, but there's several different modes within this that we can utilize to get more creative with it. So there's hyperlapse modes built in, there's time-lapse modes, and there's even slow motion. So if you go to the settings of a camera like this, you can adjust it to be 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and even 120 frames per second for the iPhone, albeit it's not 1080p once you go up to that much frame rate on this, but still, it's a pretty cool feature. Next, let's talk about keeping the camera steady and camera technique. So of course, when you're recording anything, you want to be as smooth as possible. And the cool part about it when you have a simple phone like this is that it's actually easier to keep this steady, and you can use a couple interesting techniques to create tripods and slider type of techniques. So there's several companies like Joby, Manfrotto that offer tripods for this type of stuff. Here's one I initially tried out. To be honest, this isn't my favorite, but one that I would definitely recommend to you guys is the Manfrotto Pixie. This is under 30 bucks, I believe. However, it's a very sturdy and solid, well-built little grip or tripod that can support your point and shoot and your DSLR, but there's an option to get it with this little clip. And this little clip is actually very handy because you can use it on its own as a little kickstand. It has this flip out piece, and you could screw it onto this or anything with threading like this on there, and you could clip your phone onto it. So when you use it like this, you could simply put your phone in there, and now you have a really easy grip and handle that you could make smooth movements with and use as a tripod for steady shots. The fun part about this is you could even mix it up. This threading can go on whatever. And now I've got another alternative option, so the clip is really cool. And now you've really got something sweet. This is an official tripod. You could use these knobs to do whatever type of motion you want. But ultimately what that allows us to do is get creative with it. You can see using these cheap tools under 30 bucks, accessories, and now we can create cool pans and tilts and other smooth and tripod-like motions. Also, if you don't have any accessories, get creative with it. Anything on wheels or any household items like office chairs like that I'm sitting on. See how that goes? So regardless of all those little accessories, even if you're just shooting handheld, keep it pretty smooth. Let's jump into Premiere Pro and talk about some post-production and editing tricks you can do to make your basic iPhone footage a little bit better, like color grading, stabilization, and framing. Alright, so jumping into the computer, I'm working in Adobe Premiere Pro. You could use whatever video editor you want, but you could see that we can drag these iPhone movie video recordings onto our timeline just like any other video footage. However, there's a few tricks and tips we can use to polish it up and make it look more presentable. So aside from the accessories that we can use in camera to get smoother shots, perhaps audio, microphone plugins, and things like that, what we can do to stabilize some potentially shaky handheld footage is use our warp stabilizer tool in Premiere Pro. So if we go to the effects panel, you can find one called Warp Stabilizer in the Distort Video folder, and I have a full tutorial separately on this, but basically when you drag this onto clips that only have a slight amount of shake that you want to remove, Premiere Pro does a pretty good job analyzing each frame of the footage and then eventually giving you a slightly cropped yet smooth motioned result. So just like with any footage, whether you shot it with the iPhone or DSLR, a little bit of stabilization and post-processing could go a long way if you needed it. So next up, let's talk about cinematic color grading and a cinematic look. So in Premiere Pro, we can work with adjustment layers. So I'll click on my project media bin, go to File, New, Adjustment Layer, and drag that adjustment layer on top of my tracks, and I can expand it out over as many clips as I want. And in order to add some cinematic color grading to this, I can click on the adjustment layer and head over to my Lumetri color curves, and here I can do basic correction like exposure and white balance, which I'm going to leave alone in this case. And I can do creative color grading. So we have all these tools like the curves, the color wheels, HSL secondary. I have a full tutorial breaking this all down in detail, but basically you have all these presets as well as your ability to go in and create custom looks for your clips. So you could use this to take your flat iPhone footage and give it a more cinematic color or feel. So once you've enhanced your image by adding some color grading or correction, you can simulate that widescreen look by adding some letterboxing and cropping right in Premiere. And we can do that by adding another adjustment layer over top of our clips and then using the crop tool to simulate some black letterboxes. So if I go to my effects panel and I search for crop and drag that on here, and we're working with 1080p clips, if I crop in about 12.3% on the top and bottom, what I'm left with is a widescreen look that is not actually widescreen, but when you upload it to things like YouTube and whatnot, it's letterboxing as if it was widescreen. So aside from these basics, you could go on here and they're just regular video clips that you can do all of the basics of editing with, like add cuts, transitions, music, and more to create your final project all with your phone that should look pretty decent. So definitely check out my channel for some general video editing topics and tutorials to dive further into that. So those are some tips on how to improve your iPhone film and footage skills. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a big like on it below, and if you're new to the channel, then make sure you subscribe for new videos every day. Also, you guys can follow me on social media at Justin OD Show. We're live streaming, behind the scenes, and more on there. So hope to see you guys. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Master of the sun, memories fully